Hey, have you ever really thought about the words you're speaking right now? The language you use every single day? It feels so normal, right? So permanent. But what if I told you it's got a secret history? A totally wild story packed with invasions, class warfare, and what you could only call linguistic muggings. So, where does this all begin? Well, it starts with a sound you probably won't even recognize. Just listen to this for a second. Huet, we garsdana in girdagum, thiad kinninga, thrim gifrunan. I mean, it sounds like something straight out of a fantasy epic, doesn't it? The language of ancient heroes and monsters. So what is this ancient lost tongue? What are we listening to? Well, here's the crazy part. It's English. Yep, believe it or not, that is where the story of our language really kicks off. To figure out how in the world we got from that epic poetry to, ordering a pizza, we've got to go way back. Right back to the beginning, to the Anglo-Saxon roots of a language that you wouldn't even recognize as your own. You see, our story doesn't actually start in England. It starts over in what's now Germany and Denmark. We're talking about 1,500 years ago, when tribes like the Ingles and the Saxons sailed across the sea and brought their Germanic dialects with them. That was the tiny seed that would grow into English. And you can see how it played out right here. The tribes show up around 450 AD. A couple of centuries go by, and their different ways of speaking all kind of melt together into what we now call Old English. And by the year 1000, that language is sophisticated enough to produce incredible poems like Beowulf, which, is the source of those strange and wonderful words we heard just a minute ago. So, for about 600 years, English is chugging along on its Germanic track. And then, bam, one single event happens that changes absolutely everything. An invasion that would give the English language a permanent split personality. The year is 1066. William the Conqueror, a Norman from France, invades and takes over England. And all of a sudden, the entire ruling class, we're talking the king, all the powerful lords, the courts, the whole government, they're all speaking French. Meanwhile, the regular folks, the farmers and the workers, they just kept right on speaking English. And this slide, oh man, it just captures the divide perfectly. An Anglo-Saxon farmer in the field would raise a pig, a cow, or a sheep, all good, solid, earthy Germanic words. But once that animal was cooked and served up in the lord's fancy castle, it got its French name: pork, beef, mutton. That class divide is literally baked right into the words we still use for food today. And look, this wasn't just about a few fancy food words. The influence was absolutely colossal. Over the next few centuries, English soaked up more than 10,000 French words for power, law, and culture, like government, justice, liberty, marriage. It completely changed the DNA of the language forever. Okay, so now English is this weird hybrid, a Germanic language wearing a very large, very fancy French coat. But then, something else bizarre was about to happen, something that didn't change the words we used, but how we said them. And folks, this is the secret reason that English spelling is so completely, maddeningly weird. I mean, really, have you ever thought about it? Why is it one goose but two geese, but one moose isn't two meese? Why do through, though, and tough all look so similar but sound totally different? Well, the answer is a mysterious, historical event called the Great Vowel Shift. So, from about 1400 to 1700, for reasons linguists are still debating, by the way, people all over England just started changing how they said their vowels. It was like this massive slow-motion chain reaction that completely rewired the sound of the entire language. So, how did it work? Well, to put it simply, vowels started to be pronounced higher up in the mouth. For instance, the word mice used to be pronounced mees. But during the shift, that long E sound climbed up and became the I sound we say today. Now here's the crucial part. This was happening at the exact same time the printing press was making spelling consistent. So we got stuck with the old spelling, M-I-C-E, but we adopted the brand new pronunciation, mice. Our spelling is basically a snapshot of how words used to sound hundreds of years ago. Okay, so English has been invaded by French, its pronunciation has been scrambled by the Great Vowel Shift, and now it was ready to flip the script and go on the offensive. As the British Empire grew, English didn't just see the world, it went on a global shopping spree for new words. I absolutely love this quote because it just nails what happened next. English wasn't polite. It was a hungry, shameless collector of words from every single culture it encountered. And the results? I mean, just look at this chart. It's staggering. That original Germanic core, the language of Beowulf, What we might think of as pure English, it only makes up about a quarter of our modern vocabulary. The rest is mostly French and Latin, with bits and pieces from all over. English isn't a language, it's a beautiful Frankenstein's monster. So let's check out some of the loot from this shopping spree. Every time you use shampoo, you're actually speaking Hindi. You put ketchup on your burger, you can thank a Chinese dialect for that word. The word robot, that's a gift from the Czech language. Sofa, whiskey, zombie, our everyday speech is like a living museum of world history. And that brings us right up to today, because the story of English is a long, long way from being over. The big invasions and vowel shifts might be in the past, but the language is now evolving faster than ever, and it's all thanks to a powerful new global force. For the very first time in its long history, the most important thing about English isn't that it's a mother tongue. It's that it has become the world's language, the bridge for science, for business, for the internet. And this chart just puts it all into perspective. Look at that difference. For every one native speaker, there are more than 3 people who speak it as a second or third language. So that leads to a huge question. Who actually owns the future of English? The tiny minority who grew up with it, or the massive global majority who adopted it? So the next time you use a word, any word, just take a second to remember its incredible secret journey. And as English keeps soaking up new words from tech and from every culture on Earth, words like sushi or selfie, you've got to wonder, are we just watching one single language continue to evolve, or are we actually witnessing the birth of many new, different Englishes, all at the same time?